After being completely absorbed into everything about the first two Trails in the Sky games, it was finally time to move on to the conclusion. By conclusion, I don't really mean conclusion. Things ended perfectly after Sky SC, and I would have been completely happy if that was the end. Sky the Third is very different to what we've experienced in the past. It isn't exactly something that's needed, instead it's something that I didn't know I desperately wanted. It's more like an epilogue created for fans like myself for the first two games. Don't even think about jumping into this game without playing FC and SC first. The enjoyment that you'll find in Sky the Third is so heavily based on your experience with these previous games. If however this is your third stop in the Sky series, yeah, no brainer. It would be an absolute crime to miss out on this. Keep watching to find out why. Third style of storytelling is a complete departure to what you'd expect after playing the first two titles. Where FC and SC focused on the epic journey of Joshua and Estelle, Third picks up 6 months after these events and follows the events of Kevin. Yep, that very same priest from SC. Early in the game, Kevin is sent to Liberl to investigate an artifact that was discovered after the major event of Sky SC. Shortly later, Kevin and Reese, who is a squire sent to aid Kevin, are absorbed into a strange white light, only to awaken in a mysterious place known as Phantasma. This is where the majority of the game takes place. Phantasma is a strange world that makes absolutely no sense to begin with. Kevin's only option is to explore the planes of Phantasma, unlock its mysteries, and eventually get back to the real world. Through this journey, you'll learn a lot about Kevin's history and characters who have played an important part in his life. Now, he was a decent enough character in Sky SC, but after playing Third, he is easily one of my favourite characters in the series. He is a complete badass and his story is awesome. But honestly, what did you expect? Trails games are brilliant at storytelling, character development, and world building, and Sky the Third is no different. During your travels through Phantasma, Kevin will find sealing stones, and this will allow him to bring characters from the real world into Phantasma. This is the part where the fan service comes in. You'll eventually be reunited with and unlock 14 of your favourite characters, made up mostly of those who were playable in the past games and some that weren't. It is a great feeling seeing your favourite characters appear, and this really gave me some massive Avengers vibes. Now, the one thing that may put a lot of people off this game is the dungeon crawler structure. The events of FC and SC were huge. You had a whole country to explore and the conflicts had a significant impact on Liberl. This time around, you're stuck in a strange dungeon with the main conflict revolving around a single main character, Kevin. To put it simply, there's a main hub called the Hermit's Garden where you can heal and shop, then 7 different planes full of monsters to work through. You can fast travel back and forth between the garden and the planes at any time and will finally progress to the next plane after defeating a major boss and watching a significant story event. Most of these planes are also reused locations from the previous games, and while this made sense in the end, I still wanted some new, unique places to explore. While still incredibly well written and highly engaging, in terms of scale, Third is much smaller. The game's core objective is servicing the fans, and the number one way to do this is through the door mechanic. For me, these doors were the true standout of Sky the Third. There are 25 doors in total hidden throughout Phantasma, and these can only be unlocked by solving a simple riddle and meeting certain conditions. For instance, a door may ask you to bring a girl in a band who takes to the skies, and this can be opened if you bring Josette along. There are 3 types of doors, and each of these reveal events that have happened in the past, most of which between the time of SC's ending and the start of Sky the Third. First, there are the moon doors, which are very lengthy and tell detailed stories of the characters. Then there are the star doors, which are shorter stories, and finally the sun doors, which are focused on mini-games. I am 110% invested into the Trails world, and watching these events was the best part of the game for me. Most of these doors are lacking in the way of gameplay, but in true Trails style, they are incredibly well written. Some doors, for instance, focus on the lore, things that I've always wondered about in the past, such as why there are so many northern Jaegers. Other doors are more light-hearted and really help flesh out the incredible cast of characters even more. Some of these characters even include those from other Trails games, such as Cold Steel. Then there are the doors that are just a complete emotional roller coaster, dealing with issues that are very rarely, if ever, touched in video games. One of these doors just made my jaw drop. If you've seen Star Door 15, you know what I'm talking about. There are also some doors that provide key information relating to future Trails titles and answer some questions that relate to the entire series. If I could put my love of Sky the Third down to one thing, it would be these memory doors. They reveal so much about the characters I loved and the world around them. But with that said, there were a couple of doors that were a chore to get through, such as the one focused focused on the children at the orphanage. I really felt that more important, engaging events could have been revealed in these cases. Everything relating to the combat works exactly as you would expect from a Sky game. If you've played SC and FC, which you should have, then you'll feel right at home with the combat and orbiment system. I'm not going to repeat myself about how these mechanics work because it is literally the exact same as Sky SC. Nutshell version, however, is that it's an incredibly well-designed turn-based system that provides loads of awesome battles. What I really liked is how we're given the option of using so many characters. Once you unlock them, you can use them in your main party at any time, and with so many possible characters to choose from, there are loads of different possible playstyles. You're also forced to use everyone at certain times, which was a really good way to encourage experimentation and different combinations. While some characters are clearly designed to be more powerful than others, they all have their own unique characteristics that make them useful in battle. The only new feature here is that one character can be chosen to support your main party. This supporting character will slightly adjust your stats. For instance, putting Mueller as a support will increase your defense and speed. While not making a huge difference in battle, this was a welcomed addition. As with all of the Sky games, the music once again needs to be mentioned. It is so rare for a series to be so consistently good in this area. Now, being separate to Joshua and Estelle's journey, Sky the Third features a load of new tracks that complement the story and gameplay perfectly. There are heart-wrenching tracks for the moments that need it, followed by some absolutely incredible boss themes. Like I said in my Sky SC review, this is the kind of soundtrack that I'll be listening to for years to come.
Cry for me 君の声が聞こえてる叫んでる僕の名前を
The feeling of completing the Sky series is bittersweet. On one hand, it's a huge shame that I'll never be able to play this amazing trilogy for the first time again. On the other hand, some of the reveals and key scenes have made me so excited to continue the Trails series. I understand that this epilogue fan service dungeon crawling style may not be for everyone. It's different to what we've seen in the past and feels a lot less significant in the grand scheme of things. With that said, I loved every moment of Sky the Third. After finishing the first two games, this was the perfect way to get more out of what was near perfectly established in the past. Kevin's story is brilliant, so it's a credit to the writing to say that it's the short stories told through the doors that was the true standout of the game for me. Add this to an excellent strategic battle system and a killer soundtrack, and you have yourself a must-play JRPG, but only if you play the first two games first. What did you think of Sky the Third? Let me know in the comments. Sky may be over, but the Crossbell arc has only just begun. I'm currently playing through Trails from Zero, so stay tuned for that. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you like this, please hit like and sub for loads more Trails and RPG content. Also, come say hi on the socials. See you next time.